All right, today I want to welcome Catherine vanVonno. She is the president and CEO of 24/7 VA. That's a trusted remote staffing company that's dedicated to helping business owners find highly talented individuals across the globe so that they can save time and money and focus on growing their business. Kind of an interesting note. I was recently in Catherine's neck of the woods. She lives in Berlin, Maryland, which is a delightful little town right near the beach on the eastern shore of Maryland. And so we were just catching up about life on the eastern shore. Catherine, welcome.
Thank you, Craig. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So first off, there's still people out there that don't know what a VA is. What is a VA?
Okay, so I think the conception that most people think when they hear the term virtual assistant or VA is that it's somebody that can do admin tasks for my business. Somebody that can help me with the remedial, low-level tasks that are part of the day-to-day running of a company. And that's what I mean, that clearly is what some virtual assistants do, but there are virtual assistants that are web developers. There are virtual assistants that run marketing campaigns and can run your PPC advertising. There are virtual assistants that are bookkeepers. So the term virtual assistant in our company spans all skill sets. It's not just those remedial admin tasks, but so we have clients that come and hire through our company for just about anything, any job that can be done remotely, as long as it's not packing boxes and it's not face-to-face sales. It can, whatever can be done with a computer, a phone line, internet connection. That's the skill sets that we place virtual assistants with our clients for.
Yeah. And where are the virtual assistants usually located?
The Philippines is probably the Philippines and India are the two biggest hubs. And that's just because the BPO industry really grew out of those countries where you had your Fortune 500 companies offshoring and outsourcing to companies in those countries. I think, the IT industry heavily focused on India, whereas the customer service industry heavily focused on the Philippines, just mainly because in the Philippines, English is a national language that's taught through their school systems. So the communication skills of the workers in the Philippines is very high. But anyhow, yeah, so those were the two big hubs. We started in the Philippines. That's where I had my first virtual assistant when I started this company. Since then, we've expanded into many other countries in Asia. We're in South Africa. We just recently created recruitment streams in some of the Latin American countries to bring in bilingual Spanish, English speaking virtual assistants, because we're seeing our clients are requesting that. So we are more on a global scale now than when we first started. But virtual assistants come from anywhere. There's virtual assistants from Ukraine. Ukraine is a very popular for IT related skill sets. So yeah. Just about, there's so many rural communities that just don't have the opportunities that the United States worker has. And so as these countries evolve and they learn more about remote work online opportunities, it's spurring their economies, and it's really a good thing.
Well, it's kind of interesting with the advent of COVID. We kind of came to this realization that all these jobs are based in the Bay Area or, wherever, that a lot of those jobs don't need to be there. And so a lot of the Silicon Valley workers ended up going inland.
I know. I know. They up and left.
So this is kind of, so if we focus on the Philippines is a little bit ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. They are. Well, their infrastructure may not be ahead of us, but definitely their realization of what could be in terms of remote work opportunities. Yeah. And I do think it was spurred by the American businesses that showed them it was an avenue.
Well, one of the things you mentioned was you were talking about English as a national language. I think there's even a little bit more teeth to that. I mean, at least when I lived there, I was surprised to discover English was the national language. I thought it was Tagalog.
Mm-mm.
And I discovered you travel 100 miles and the Tagalog that you speak is different than the Tagalog they speak. And so English is the unifying language of
in the Philippines. It's amazing. I know. When I learned that, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, they have different dialects. And so, yeah, really, one side of the Philippines is not able to communicate with the other side of the Philippines without English.
Yeah.
Unifying factor.
Yeah.
So I don't know when that started, but they were smart about that because I think that's why they had this opportunity with the BPO industry growth.
Yeah. So what's BPO stand for?
Business process outsourcing. So this is what the big Fortune 500 companies started doing many years ago. But they would take their customer service department and totally offshore that to a company in the Philippines. And you see that all the time when you're calling the customer service department of any major company. Sometimes you're like, where are you located? And they say, oh, I'm in Texas. And you're like, oh, great. Because we're seeing a little bit of a backpedal of some of those jobs coming back to the United States, whereas, because there was a backlash from the customer, I think from the consumer with a lot of these companies. Maybe not with the Philippines BPOs, but in other countries where there was some communication barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things you mentioned was the infrastructure. I know that in places like Cebu in the Philippines and Manila, because of that investment, there's, at least in terms of internet, there's good infrastructure there. Nationwide, it's not the same infrastructure we have here in the US. But I just didn't want people to walk away with the impression that, like internet would be spotty. I mean, we have that in the US.
Yeah. That's for sure. Depending on your carrier, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no. In the metropolitan areas, you've got very stable. Plus, there's so many co-working spaces that if something goes wrong, I mean, you see people relocating to a co-working space to be able to do their shifts. It's in the province areas that you find the infrastructure issues, but it's improving. I mean, I think the country as a whole sees it as their bread and butter, and there are improvements being made. Someday we'll have global satellite internet and the whole world will be on the same page. Right.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that you talked about was how it's making a difference in the lives of the people in the Philippines. What impact is that having?
Oh gosh, people can feed their families. I mean, it's really that basic. That we're bringing rewarding career opportunities and employment opportunities to people that otherwise would not have those opportunities at all. And one of my birthdays, I got a video card from several of my team members and our virtual assistants, but the underlying theme throughout it was just thank you for the opportunity, because they're so grateful to have a job. They're so grateful to be able to provide for their families. And in the Philippines, the family unit is not as similar to the family unit here in the United States. I mean, they live with it's generations live together as a family, whereas you don't see that, here. It's more the nuclear family here in the US versus generational family living under one roof. So, they're caring for their grandparents, and they're taking care, these workers are not only they're taking care of their nuclear family, but they're taking care of their grandparents as well. So a lot of pride that they have, and they also, value family a lot. So the work-life balance of being able to be able to work from home, and with your family all around you is it's just indescribable for them. They and I work from home too, and I have my family around me, so it's just the best that it can.
Yeah. Now, what about the kind of the education level? And so I think a lot of people would be worried about that.
Yep. No. The educational background of workers in the Philippines is very similar to those in the United States. For our company, everybody coming through the door has a college education. I mean, so education is highly valued. It is attainable. So yeah, they come to us with a 4-year degree, and they really love, they have a 4-year degree in graphic design or content, English and writing, and so they're able, to come to our company and be promoted out for jobs that are in their skill area, rather than, having to go into a customer support role. We see a lot of people that migrate out of the BPOs there, these big organizations, and they migrate to our company. After 10 years of being in a customer support role, they want to get back to what their real skill area is, and work from home doing that. So,
one of the things that I think it's hard to appreciate living in the US is what it's like over there. So, and now it's been decades since I've set foot in the Philippines, but when I was there, one of the things that struck me was you have extreme poverty and extreme wealth, and there's not a lot in between. And my guess is these jobs are actually kind of a middle class.
Yep.
They're creating a middle class.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I haven't viewed it like that, but that is very, yeah. I believe that is what these jobs are creating. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's opportunity to do good and virtuous things. And when I was there was a lot of things that weren't exactly virtuous that, people were doing to, make a living for themselves.
Yep. And people are exploited, and then put into unsafe conditions. So yeah, this is, providing these types of job opportunities is a real win. It's a win for American businesses. And I say that because, not that we're moving jobs offshore away from American workers, but if a small to medium-sized business is able to offshore key components of their business functions at a lower price, because our rates are lower than US labor rates, at a lower price, that enables them to funnel that money that they would have spent on American labor into marketing. So they're spurring, companies like yours. They're giving more business. They have more money to advertise, and they have more money to pull in talent that can really, be revenue generating talent for their company. And so they're able to scale. So that's why I say it's a win-win, because it's providing job opportunities offshore, but it's also enabling these businesses to scale and pour more of their money back into the US economy and through marketing efforts and other avenues. So
Uh,
you may look at me as a globalist, and I tend to think that I'm a little bit of both,
yeah.
So.
How did you get into this?
Well, I retired. I had a career at Blue Cross Blue Shield Association for many years. While I was there, I had 4 children. And when my youngest was just turning 1, I sort of looked at my husband and said, the whole reason I had children is because I want to take care of them and I want to be part of their lives. So I retired from my corporate job and became a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. And while I was doing that, my husband, he's an entrepreneur, started a lot of companies. But one of the things he asked me for help with his companies was staffing them. And so I started exploring the freelance marketplace. And back then it was Odesk. That's now the Upwork and Elance. But I started exploring that, and I found talent there, but it was really hard. And I had a lot of bad, bad situations where I'd start somebody, I'd give them all our, account logins and everything, to help us create, a website or something. And then they just were gone. And I had no way. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So it sort of evolved from that. My husband actually is the one that did the initial formation of 24/7 VA, the licensure and, the naming. But it was, really my understanding and my it was eye-opening that, if I could bring a solution to small businesses where they didn't have to go to these talent marketplaces and go through the same experiences I did, and I could create a recruitment stream and a vetting process to be able to supply them with talented, skilled individuals that I knew if they, said that they were an expert in Excel, that I've tested them in that, and I know that they really are. If I could bring that to small businesses, I thought it could explode, and so here I am. We've been on the Inc. This is our 2nd year on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies, and I just found out that we also are one of the I don't know if they call it a finalist or. But for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, America's top small businesses from the Eastern region, they picked 10 businesses. We're one of those. So I know the concept is resonating. It's resonating with business owners. COVID actually helped our business because it really showed business owners that remote work could be productive work. And the tools tools for remote work productivity that grew out of COVID are amazing. So it just was a catalyst for the concept of what our company is about.
Yeah, that's neat. So what does, as you're doing this and as you're leading teams all around the world, what does leadership mean to you?
Oh, leadership to me is all about instilling integrity, instilling, allowing for opportunities for expansion, leading by example. I have an incredible team. that surrounds me. I don't interface with them all every single day, but those that are very close to me are really intelligent. And I really lean on them as a leader for guidance. So, you know, a leader is somebody that can really depend also on others in terms of, you know, listening to what they have to say, knowing what motivates them, making sure that I'm making decisions that resonate with them, because they're the ones that are implementing those decisions. And if it doesn't resonate with them, you know, it's not going to be successful. So, yeah, so that's what it's all about to me.
Yeah. Is there a time where you feel like your leadership was really challenged, almost like a white knuckle moment where
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And I have a lot of white knuckle moments in leading because of the challenges of remote team. We are we're a remote first company, and we're fully distributed. So I am the only member of the team here in the United States. Everybody else is somewhere else in the world. So, you know, as we expanded, as we grew beyond the Philippines, and started onboarding people from other countries and cultural backgrounds, you know, it was hard because, you know, diversity is a strength. And, you know, I'm all for, you know, DEI, and that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's, you know, the big buzzword that's going around. But our company's been practicing that, you know, for so long. But when you have people from diverse cultures, it's, for instance, if you're a company in New York and you have a job opening, and, you know, most of the time you're hiring from that community, right? So everybody sort of likes the Jets or the Giants, or you know, New Yorkers are New Yorkers. You know, they have this cultural identity that's similar. So when they all come into a company, it's very, you know, everybody sort of has the same mindset. When you have a team where someone's from India, someone's from Pakistan, someone's from the Philippines, someone's from Argentina, someone's from South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa, you have a variety of people with such differences in their backgrounds, in their cultures, the way that they communicate. So I think that was the biggest thing for me in terms of managing a team with diverse cultural backgrounds, and having them be understanding to one another. The way someone speaks from India when they're trying to get a point across is different than the way someone speaks from the Philippines that's trying to get a point across. So sometimes and I'm just using those two as an example, but sometimes the receiver of the communication gets a little, you know, irritated, like, you know, are they speaking to, you know, are they demeaning me? And, you know, because they're speaking, and it's not that, it's just cultural differences.
mhm.
So really, you know, trying to foster an inclusive and cohesive work environment has been my biggest challenge in terms of working with my team. But I learned the value really of active listening, because that's what it's all about. You really need to listen to somebody to truly and give them that attention. A lot of people, you know, hear something because someone says it, and then they take it the wrong way. So, you know, I try to teach the team, you know, what active listening is all about, and acceptance of feedback, because, you know, there are times when the person that's communicating doesn't understand why the receiver is acting in a, you know, responding in a particular way. So it's just diversity. Diversity is hard in a remote team. But I think that's, probably, yeah, if I was to choose one, it would be that.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And thanks for coming on Leaders and Legacies. How can people reach you?
Well, our website is our main avenue. And our company is name is spelt a little different. It's a challenge, and then so I blame that on my husband all the time. Like, why, why? So we even had to create a jingle so that people would remember. But it's 20, the number 2, the number 0. You spell out 4, FOUR, the number 7, V as in virtual, A as in assistant.com. So 220 FOUR7VA.com. Visit us on our website. We've got so much information there. We have, you can read about the impacts that we're doing around the world. We do a lot of impact hiring projects. So we just did a project in South Africa, Buffalo City, where we took a cohort of 32 young women and we sent them through training, and then we had a tech center there that provided the space for them to work, and we promoted them to our clients. But just changing one community at a time. But we've got all of that there, so you can see all of our, that type of corporate social responsibility type work. But there's also, it explains everything. So if you don't know what a virtual assistant is, or you don't know the types of tasks that you could possibly outsource to a virtual assistant, our website is full of information. We have, success stories from clients on there. You can read about that and how we have some really great clients that's left us some beautiful video testimonials that sort of paint the path. This is what I did, and this is what I did next, for business owners. But our website's the biggest thing. Go there. We're also on all the social channels, Facebook, Twitter, I don't know, Instagram. But yeah, you can find us there at 20FOUR7VA.
Well, Catherine, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I really enjoyed this. I didn't know you were that you knew so much about the Philippines. That was, I was unprepared for that, but I had a really good conversation with you. So
I did as well. All right. Thank you again.
All right.